Come on, autofocus on that. So here there's still some flux here, and these are the other two I replaced here. Just a little bit dirty. Yeah, I might be getting one of those upgrades. Okay. Just clean it clean. A toothbrush. I think I put a little bit too much on, so that's okay. It's just alcohol. So now I need my kitchen roll. Where the hell's that gone? Bloody hell. There we go. That dry. I can get a better look at it. Yeah. When it was dirty, it looked like there was a chance I'd managed to bridge two of the connectors, but now that it's clean, I can see that those connections are all fine. Absolutely fine. Oh no, a Scotch accent. This is Lemsip. Still feeling a bit under the weather. Right, so next up on the dock today is this. This is a soundboard, right? Relatively simple. This one's got higher quality capacitors on it. There's 4 of these that we need to replace. I need to pull up the service manual again. It's also a little bit dirty looking. Yeah. So last week I got pretty stuck getting the do a wee quick thing first. Last week I got pretty stuck because I could not get the solder out the joints. It's given me a very, very, very hard time. To be very gentle. So I wasted a lot of time last week trying to get these out with with wick and with the solder sucker, and I couldn't get anywhere. So I promised last week that I'd go away and I'd do some more research and I'd try and figure out how to get. So I'll do some more research, and when I come back I'll be in a better position to try and get some of this stuff done. So I done my research, and I bought myself a new tool. This is quite dirty actually. It's hard to see I think on the camera, but it's yeah, I could do with a, I think that's just flux. Try to be gentle, especially on this component because it looks quite fragile. Okay. Board. Most audio boards appear to be functionally identical with minor differences in component selection. C1, C2, C3, C5 and C7. There you go. I wasn't paying attention. Something's missing here. Right, look. You can already see it pretty clearly, but is that helping? Look at these solder joints on this sound card. I'm specifically talking about the ones on the chip here. Let's just get rid of that, it's not helping. They look like shit. What's that all about? Why are there holes in them? What's happened to them? So that's something that caught my eye, but the thing that's really caught my eye is, so if they're on this side of the board here, the problem here, of course, is that these are not through-hole components. They're surface mount components. And I don't think I have got any surface mount. I didn't get any surface mount capacitors as part of this kit. Which leads me to believe I may not have got the correct parts for the soundboard. I may have only got power board and audio board parts. Sorry, power board and mainboard parts. So you can see the joins just at the outside edge of C1 Same at both sides, so they're just sort of surface mounted around the outside edges. So I can just get in there with my fine tip and get it out. Oh, almost forgot my mask. So apparently, I don't know how true this is, there's something I saw in the Game Gear subreddit that the electrolytic fluid they use in these capacitors is actually fish oil, and that it's utterly abhorrent smelling if you were to burn it with the solder in it. So I'm not in a hurry to do that. Right back. Okay, I'm back. I mean, I was never gone. Okay, let's see. Okay. This is tricky, but we'll get there. No, it's not. How much is this going to move around? Should I get my helping hand on it? I've got a wee helping hand thing, you know. I'll hold it in place, but let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens here. Oh dear. Oh dear, this is awkward. Sort of like, oh, very, very finely. This is going to be difficult, isn't it? Yep, it's going to be difficult. I might move on to the main board as said to make life easier. Let's see what happens. Oh dear. Yeah, these are so small and fine. You can buy whole new soundboards from a group company called RetroKai. RetroKai have been making two types of just completely new custom built. The cable heat up as well, so don't burn your finger. Yeah, I know, I'm trying not to. And that is really God, this is a strong one. This is tricky as anything. I'm wondering how this is put together. Possibly with an E4. Right, I think I'm going to go move on to the soundboard and I'm going to do more research. Thought I was ready for this. Oh, I can smell that through the mask. Right, okay, so this is going to go on the back burner. We don't need the audio card. Let's focus on the main card. Here we go. So, as I was saying last time, this Game Gear board looks in good condition. I'm pretty chuffed about that. Let's put these over here. Once I cleaned off the leaked electrolytic fluid, it doesn't look like there's any real damage done, which is a real blessing. So I'm hopeful that once I've replaced the capacitors I'll be able to get this up and running. That would be pretty good. And this thing's crazy. Just how complicated this is compared to its contemporaries. I read a thing the other day that says it Nintendo didn't put out a console this advanced, or a handheld, sorry, this advanced until the Game Boy Advance, which was like 10 years after this was designed. So Sega went nuts. It's basically Sega Mega Drive, but with a smaller screen in terms of what's on this chip, which made it really easy for them to write software for both consoles. Obviously, it's famously had its problems, the biggest of which is the battery life issues. But it's crazy looking at this thing and just comparing it to how simple a Game Boy is. Right, what screws am I missing here? It's this one. I think there's a big screw, actually. No, I'm going to want to take everything off anyway, because I don't want any cross-contamination. Right, so that's off the shield. Not the shield, I guess it kind of is a shield. Everything's coming off. Everything's got to go. Sailing capacitors. Sorry, my hands are blocking the screen, but I gotta see what I'm doing. I've got new lights as well. I think that's making quite a big difference. They're very blue, so right. And of course the big ones. If I need to, yeah, I do need to take that out. Here we go. Okay. So I've never done this before, by the way. I've never taken a Game Gear this far apart. I've never recapped one. This is all new to me. Something. Oh, Must a wee hidden bastard screw. There's always one that hides. Out it comes. Got ya. I'm trying to swear less on stream. Can you see it's going really well? Right, so this is the screen here. It's a very dusty screen. And there you go. That is an actual CFL tube here. Which is actually the thing that sucks all the power out the batteries, really. Like that should mean, well, I'm trying not to get myself kicked off the platform. Apparently, anyway. Silicon bits and bobs here. Oops, there's my buttons. I give this a good clean before you reassemble. And this is where it gets interesting because, as I said last time, for all intents and purposes, this is a D-pad, right? It's a bit dirty looking, we'll have to clean that up. But the problem was, it will absolutely not be kicked off the platform for swearing. Okay, right. So, oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I just need to use more like Scottish terms, you know. So this wee dauber here, it looks like a D-pad, right? That, aye. So this thing here looks like a D-pad, right? But Sega would swear up and down that it's not a D-pad. The reason they would swear up and down it's not a D-pad is because Nintendo held the patent for the D-pad and they were not playing nice. They didn't want anyone else to have it. So the D-pad, which I don't think I've got a disassembled one here to show you, but the D-pad is basically 4 buttons. It's the same thing. In fact, it looks identical to this almost. You got 4 like silicon buttons, and when you push it in, it hits one of these 4 it makes a connection between these 4 points, right? Simple enough. That's just a switch though. So the problem was, how do you turn it into a directional pad? And Sega, I believe, added this little rocker here in the middle. And other variants of this have got a metal ball bearing here. This is one of the earlier models, so it doesn't have that. And it doesn't work as well. It's genuinely not as good. If you ever heard of Game Gear, you'll know that this just doesn't quite work as well as the D-pad does on the Game Boy. Or on... If you ever used a Master System, they had the exact same type of design there, and it's just to avoid running into Nintendo's patent. It's a good approximation, but it's just not quite as good as what Nintendo had at the time. So yeah, there you go. That's a wee bit of gaming history for you. So, yeah, I have to be very careful with the screen because I don't really want to take it off to do a recap. Look at this thing, it's crazy, isn't it? I still can't believe that this thing was ever made. Never mind that it actually worked and sold. Oh dear, goodness me, we've got... What is this? Wonderful. So this is going to take more skill than I was expecting, and hopefully not more skill than I've actually got. I think we'll have to see about that. Okay, mask back on. Yeah, it does look good for fit your device. I've cleaned it up a wee bit already, but this one has had some damage. I've managed to clean off. And I thought I had. I get a closer look at it when the capacitors are out the way. Let's see. Let's start with the ones that are leaking the most. Really worked quite well. My new toy is working quite well. Right, okay, come on. So there's a wee bit left over here. There you go. First one off. Okay. Come on, up here. Come on, up you come. Up you come. Up you come. Up you come. It's coming. Well, that's why this is... It's a good point about ruining it and messing it up. That's why this is the second one. This is the trial one. I mean, I can't really make it any worse than broke, so... I'll tell you what though, if you want to see people really messing them up, check out the Game Gear subreddit on Reddit. God damn, some of those people have got no idea what they're doing. I had no idea what I was doing, so I did a ton of research and a bunch of practice projects before, just to try and get my head around it, what I was doing. And some of these guys just dive right in and they've got no idea what the hell they're doing at all. And I think it's as easy as just slapping on like a similarly spec component. So they buy a kit and then they come in and they don't know what they're doing, and they end up with like solder bridges everywhere. It's obviously the first time they've ever tried to solder anything. And there was one posted this morning it's clearly just ruined the Game Gear. A guy had splattered solder everywhere. Some of them are they're really pish. I'm having a hard time getting this to melt, and I wonder if it's because this is a leaked capacitor. So I think I'm going to snip it off. It's just totally fine. It's not like it's going back on. And then I can get in and get the rest of the material out. There you go, off it comes. Okay, come on. Yeah, this is really this is going to be really awkward. That is, oh, there we go, it's off. Broken foot. Right, okay. So I've got to, oh dear. That has actually caused some pretty significant damage down there. Let's see how bad it is. I was so optimistic last time. This is actually the same capacitor that's leaked on my Game Gear, so or at least the one that's most obviously leaking, so okay, that's working. I'm starting to see something good again. Okay, I'll show you what I'm working with then. Right, where's my tweezers? So I removed this one first, and this one's pretty clean. You can see what it looks like here and here. And I removed this one here. This is the one that had leaked, and I thought it had leaked at this pole because it was over here, and I was able to scrub it off. But I think it's actually leaked through this pole and travelled over here, which is sounds a bit nuts. But it looks a lot better than now. But over here, it was just melted and corroded. So I'm going to try and clean this up a little bit more. I'm going to try and get this old solder off. Okay, let's see what happens then. There we go, that's working nicely. Oh yes, that is coming out very nicely. That's exactly what I want to see. Sorry, I know this is hard to see. Unfortunately my hands are not transparent and I kind of need them for this job, but there we go. Oh, is that flux? Should maybe be using a bigger soldering piece for this. This is just a copper braid with flux in it. It gets hot, so be careful. Okay, this is going to be the tricky one. I've left this one for last. Okay, come on. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Yes. Yes, it's working, it's working. Well, I don't know about the audio board, but I think we can at least get this motherboard in good shape. Just getting there. Okay, here we go. Right, more brushy. What am I making? What I'm doing here is I'm changing the capacitors on a Game Gear, which is a console made by Sega in 1991, this one in particular. So did that clean the contacts? Yes, it did. I'll show you in just a second once I've finished brushing this up, and you can see the damage slash what to repair. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm just cleaning up the contacts, and we have new capacitors to put on, and hopefully we can make this thing work again. Sega used cheap components, and those components are all dead, or not dead, but they're leaking. Leaky capacitors cause a lot of damage to Game Gears, and well, we're trying to fix this. Clean contacts with other nucleus. It does seem straightforward enough. That's what everybody seems to think when the game gets about it. I think that's the idea, yeah. It should be that simple. It should be. It's just that if they've leaked, it can cause untold damage, and you have to get the right parts to repair it, the right replacements, because there's lots of different types of capacitors. And a lot of people have been thrown on ceramic capacitors, which are not the ones that Sega use. There are ceramic capacitors on this board, but they're just not the ones that leak. So it's kind of like an ongoing question: is it okay to use ceramic capacitors because they work? That looks much better, much cleaner. Or they appear to work, but there are some questions about the tolerances of the ceramic capacitors and the potential damage they might be doing longer term to the board. Because ultimately, ceramic capacitors were here at the time that this board was created. In fact, that's one right there. Right here, next to this electrolytic capacitor that I've just removed. So, why did Sega opt to use electrolytics? Now, they've got slightly different properties, so I'm not being inclined to get up more. I don't think that's an issue. The specific issues that I've been led to believe is that when the capacitor is... I'll see if I can remember what this is, but when you apply more voltage to it, the capacitance changes or something. You probably can't get acetone. No, this is isopropyl alcohol, which I paid like £10 for delivery for, because it's like, you know, I guess it must get sent by some special means. And it turns out it came from a G20 postcode, which I could have driven over to easily. Don't use acetone on PCBs. There you go. Isopropyl is what I've been told to use. Good to see you back. Lost Diagram. MLCC. Oh, Lost Diagram. You're the guy who's going to know exactly what's going on with the ceramics. Maybe. You seem to know your stuff. But yeah, we're just kind of 50-50 on the use of ceramics. I've got a ceramic kit here. I could use a ceramic kit, but I would prefer to avoid doing so. I prefer to replace with parts that have the same specs as the original parts used. If they work, they're probably fine. They've got different properties. People are not happy about using them on the soundboard in particular. Okay, so I'm going to do this big one up here next. Okay, the rest of them should be much easier to go, because I don't think the rest of them have leaked. Just that one. So the rest of these should come off nice and easy, I hope. I have to be really careful about the soundboard here, the screen. So fragile and easy to scratch. I am planning, if I get this to work, to do a screen replacement on this, so I'm not like too worried about it getting scratched up. But this is like a smooth rubber mat, but I wish I had something I could do to protect it. There's a way to test which ones have leaked, just visual inspection. If you have a look at it, you'll know when it's leaked. It'll be green and furry. You will 100% be able to know that it's leaked. So whether it's failed is another thing. Aluminium electrolytic caps used for a single reason are dirt cheap. Yeah. These ones are like the higher end Panasonic ones that I'm using for the replacement. Never had a problem if it evaporates in 2 seconds until it's super clean. You also do dry out even without leaking as such. I think it's... These might be aluminium ones, but I don't know. Anyway, I want to get on with it, and these are soldered on, so I'm not pulling that out. Oh well, here I was thinking that was a wee connector. That's going to make it really hard to get into this, which means I think I'm going to have to snip that out. Alright, can't see what I'm doing here. Can you test your work, see if the contacts work properly, or can you only know things went out when you turn the whole thing back on at the end? Pretty much. Tantalum electrolytic caps. Yes, I've seen people use tantalum electrolytic caps on the audio board here. Some people say it's a waste of money, but I mean, yeah, sure, but they're not that expensive, so I don't really see what the big deal is. Okay. Oh, I can't really get into that easily. Okay, one snipped. I don't know how I'm supposed to get in here to solder this back in again. I'm just going to break this one off gently. Yeah, I've heard the explosively fail. Okay. Oh, here we go. That's a bad sign. Green slime. It's a bad sign. Yeah, I did a... It is really exciting to see it on working at the end. I did a... Come on, focus. Right, so that's the sort of stuff you see when it leaks. And that's early stages. Either that or it's already just melted a little bit from the other stuff, because normally it goes furry. Okay, let's see, come on. So I'll just describe that I am just soldering one side of the solder on the braid, rubbing it gently backwards and forwards over the pad so that it can suck up as much solder as it can get. Oh yes, that looks like it's worked marvellously. Here we go. A wee brush in here. Out it gets. And that one looks lovely and clean. Yep. So capillary action will cause the liquid solder to get sucked up. It will fill up and any holes and make the surface nice. There won't be any holes. No, the braid is just to try and suck out any excess wick. Come on, focus. So here and here. This is the one that I was saying I couldn't really show you me getting into. So I think I managed to do it without melting any of the other components, which was a bit tricky because it was very hard to get the soldering iron in there. But that looks pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. We're fluxing these capacitors. That was terrible. I'm sorry. I'm a dad. I do have some license to make terrible jokes. Okay, so looks like that's it. Off the board. There we go. That was easy. Let's get the next one done and we'll clean this up. Very happy with this tool. £20 that was. If I had that last time, Christ, it would have made my life a lot easier. Greenery here. Okay, come on. Oh dear. That's entirely correct. Yes, we've got some greenery here. Come on. Gentle. Side here. Come on. Yep, I've got some greenery here. So wow, this is worse than I thought. Okay, let's see what we've got to work with here. Give you a nice wee close up. The time travel jokes are allowed to become their own jokes. That's right. There you go. Let's see what we're dealing with here. So you can see the difference between one that has leaked here, if it will focus a bit better, and one that hasn't leaked over here. So that there is basically like black slimy gunge, and that all needs to come off. So you can't really see that, I don't think, at the end of this, but maybe you can. It's nasty shit. Right, but we're making good progress here. More stuff to fix than I thought, but we're going to get that. Alright, there we go. So it's a bit cleaner now. Let's again, these ones here, so you can see that it's a bit shinier. We're going to get in there, clean that up at the back. Let's get in here, let's clean this up. I have to be very careful because I don't want to lean on it. Again, the thing that's actually touching the ground is the screen. Not the ground, the surface of my work area. And that's just a glass panel, which I really don't want to break. Okay, oh, that's not looking good. No, it's okay, it's okay. Oh yes, that has cleaned up very, very well. I'm very happy with that outcome. Yeah, I'm getting better at this, or these ones are easier. As I've not got much experience, it could be either. Look at the quality of that. What a difference that makes. Where's my wee pointer? So that's the one that was leaked. Here was the worst leak, second worst, and these ones were not leaked. And that can cause a lot of damage because that can just rot all the way through the trace, go around the board, just obliterate it. Flux, flux, flux. Da, 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 da. Okay. To get into this one, to be quite honest. There we go. Not too bad, not too bad. I can get a wee look at it. I've seen worse. Looks like we've got a tiny bit of leakage there too. So a tiny bit of leakage on many of these capacitors. Really just underscores my point about how if you have a Game Gear, you have to replace the capacitors or it will break. If it's not broken, it's actually impressive. If you've bought a Game Gear that's not been recut and it works, it's genuinely impressive. Especially if it's a VA1 twin ISIC, which is what these are. These were the ones that had the cheapest parts and they were the most mass produced. There's an American variant called the Majesco. Sega outsourced it to another company. You know it's a Majesco because the ones that Sega made have got a curved bubble screen and it's got these red, green and blue here. The Majesco one has got a completely flat screen and these are grey. All three of these are grey. That's how you tell at a glance which one you've got. The Majesco one was thought to have a slightly higher quality screen than the other variants. It was only available in the USA, so I've definitely not got a Majesco to worry about here. And in Japan, they made all sorts of ones, including a Coca-Cola one, which I have to confess looks cool as shit. I like it. I'm not a big fan of corporations these days, but the Coca-Cola Game Boy looked fucking cool. Game Gear, sorry. Okay, just scrubby, scrubby, scrubby. Oh yeah, this is so satisfying, just seeing all this crap come up and expose a nice, clean, smooth metal surface ready for a new component. Ah, yes. What a feeling that is. It's worth pointing out, somebody asked me earlier on, like, how do you know if it works until you put it back together again? And I said, well, you kind of don't, you just have to put it back together again and see what happens. But if it doesn't work, you just take a look at it and try and identify, look at it visually. Any shorts, for example. You look for shorts. Oh, yes. There we go. Beautiful. I'm actually getting up. Very small amounts of it. I'm getting some of it up. So yeah, as Zimbardo had suggested earlier on, these things do heat up. These ones are encased in a wee bit of plastic, so they're okay. They're easy enough to get off. There we go, it's an R2 off. Just so satisfying to give you a wee clean up. You can see these two are just pulled off here. Where are they? So I just did this one, and that's it cleaned up. And I've also just done this one under my stupid face, which I'm about to clean up. That doesn't look too bad. In fact, that might not have leaked. A little bit more of this good stuff here. Scrub-a-dub-dub. Nice and easy. See, nice and gentle, scrub-a-dub-dub. And it just gets sucked up on its own through capillary action. Oh, I've let the heat go, so now it's soldered on. Nice and gentle, scrub-a-dub. There we go. That's it. Can you see how clean that is? I don't think you can, but it's super clean. God, that's satisfying. Oh, nice, scrub-a-dub-dub-dub-dub. Oh yes, that one's pretty much spotless. Let me try and get an angle here, get that back right there. Okay, perfect. Just a little bit of black gunk here that I'd like to try and get off. There we go, there we go, there we go. Oh, this is very, very clean. I really think this board will work, unless so there's a lot of things that can go wrong with these boards. So it's not just the capacitors that were cheap. Other problems, the VRAM, the video RAM, can just flat out die. And that's a bastard to fix. I'm not entirely sure which one of these chips is the VRAM. I imagine it's one of these two here. another one here. I can't get this in here. Don't think that was quick enough to work properly. I think this is another snippy job. There you go. One leg. Other leg. I'm near to too many sensitive components here. Oh, and I've already mounted a bit of the cartridge slot. Okay, let's just cut off that wee bar. Sorry, I've just touched it a wee bit, but it looks like it's not any real damage. Let's give you a wee better view. We are working over here. These two parts here. So you can see them there. Don't look too bad compared to some of the other ones. Let's see how we get on. Just gotta be careful. There we go, there we go. Yes. Show me that shiny contact. Okay, here we go, a wee bit there in here, if I can get in there. Hopefully I can do it without blocking the sight for you guys entirely, but it's not so easy to do. There we go. That's it. That whole side of the board is now clean. Look at that. Yeah. Some gunky ones, but for the most part that's come off, cleaned up pretty well. The ceramic capacitor I was mostly concerned about is the number C36. It's kind of hard to see. It's just here. Yeah, that one there. It looks okay. Everything looks okay. So, right, two left to do. C48 and C6. Let's get them done. Here we go. This, you might be wondering what the big silver bit is. Here. Not silver bit, the big gold circle. Here, 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 and here, here. The answer is, those are the backs of the buttons. It's also where a support here on the case, the shell, aligns with the buttons. So when you push them, you're pushing against the back of the shell. It's just a wee minor point. Right, I'm going to turn this around, and hopefully we're going to remove the last of these two capacitors, either of which look like they've leaked. Hopefully we'll have no problems here. Right, let's get on with it. Off it pops. That one was very, very easy, and that looks nice and clean. Very clean, in fact. Very promising start. I've always ended up with a wee bit of that black plastic on my tip. Okay, on the other side now. Can you see that alright? Okay, sorry folks, I'm just getting the last one off. Off it comes. There we go. Easy peasy. Hey, there we go. That's them all off. Now I just need to. Where's my braid? Hiding it. I'll slap a wee bit more of this because that's, I think, clean enough that I can get away with just putting a bit of flux, our old pal flux on, and then going right in, getting it off. Here we go. Just cutting the end of this off because it's awkward to get into this bit. There we go. Okay, here we go. Almost there. Come on. Okay, and the last one. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, this is great. I love it when it just comes off and you can just see it nice and clean and shiny underneath. I fucking love that. You're all very quiet. Have you all gone home? Or have I broke? Am I even still streaming? Spud's still here. At least somebody is. Hey! Alright. There we go. Looks nice. Looks very nice. I'm very much looking forward to getting this working. Well, there we go. Let's have a look at that. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that fucking beautiful? A nice clean contact, just waiting to be. Oh, it's just desperate for a capacitor, man. Look at that. The whole thing is nice and shiny, eh? I'm really pleased with how that's went. I'm very glad that there's not been any damage to the board. I am quite confident that we'll get it up and running, as long as I don't break the screen. I'm going to want to be careful with my fingers. Oh, there we go. That's up my first one off. I've already written the numbers down, so I could just batter through these. Yeah. Yep. You can see they've used a much higher quality capacitor on these, and the reason is because this is an audio chip. Still just 8-bit audio, but Okay. Alright, here we go. Can't get in it. I think I might have missed that with a flux pen, flux syringe. Let's get in there and get a bit more. Very hard to get under these, and I don't have any of the other tools that you would use for this job. It's coming. There we go. Got it. Whew. Okay, 2 down, 3 to go. Try to do them in the order that I can access the components in. Yeah. Very carefully, especially at the side, not to hit any of the other important chips on the board. This is definitely getting something, because wee tiny bits of it are coming out. It's just hard to put it down, it's got a strong spring on it. Okay, you got. Getting there, getting there. Be a lot happier when these parts are off. Come on, off you come. There we go, there we go. So some heat has travelled over and refilled this side. There you go, that's it off. Almost there. It's going better than I expected. Maybe my expectations were too low. But nonetheless. It's all coming together. That one came off a little bit messily, but as long as I haven't damaged anything, that's the thing that matters. This one, and then we'll scrub this little board up, and then I will decide how to proceed for the next one. I'm not sure how I'm going to get down to this side. I'm hoping I can get this up and then get it underneath like the last one, because it's very, very hard to get into this. But here you go, here's how we're getting on. See that? Look, 4 off, 1 down. 1 to go, is that right? not using a round tip. It might look like it because it's very small, but it's actually a tiny little chiseled tip. So I keep turning it to make sure it's getting right in to get all the heat in that it can. Melt, come on, melt. Release this component, damn you. More flux. I've got to be really careful. There's a capacitor right next to it that I do not want to damage. Come on, man, come on. It's very, very hard to get in here. Come on now, come on. Come up. Come on, dude, come off of there. It's getting too hot to touch now. So yet it will not release itself from this board. Yeah, oh, it's finally coming. There you go. Just gonna burn my finger. Getting there, getting there. I knew that was going to be a bastard. I've melted this here with the back of the iron while I'm trying to get into this component here, which is very hard to get into the other side of it. Please come off. Almost there. That's the last contact, the last capacitor, and then I can clean this soundboard. Off it comes, fucking ta-da. There is now, at this point, 0 original capacitors in any component of this Game Gear. I keep saying Game Boy. Right. Now, yeah, I have melted this. That's a fuck up. This is just a speaker wire though, so I'm less concerned about that. I can always, like, if I really need to, I can just solder the bloody wire in, or solder a new connector in even. So I'm not super worried about that. Brushy, brushy, brushy. Scrubby, scrubby. Oh, that's coming out very, very clean. Much better than I was expecting, to be quite honest. Here we go. Oh yes. Oh, that's so good. Oh, what a transformation. I can take this off. Look at that. Absolutely spotless, eh? Oops, I'm going the wrong way. So, just to recap what we've done today, I've taken off all the capacitors. I'm just going to shunt my board over, in fact, so you can see them. There they are. So that was 5 capacitors for the soundboard, I believe, and 11 capacitors from the main board. Next time I stream, we'll be putting the new capacitors back on, and the intervening time I'm probably going to clean up this because it's a bit disgusting around the buttons and around this membrane. It picks up all sorts of stuff that falls in around the crack. And frankly, the case itself is just filthy. I might get a new screen guard. So we'll clean that up, and hopefully next time I stream we will get this up and